Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the 12 worst selling motorcycles in America right now. Number 12, BMW R18. The BMW R18 is one of the most talked about motorcycles in America and one of the slowest selling. That's a combination BMW probably wasn't expecting when it launched this massive cruiser. At first glance, the R18 seems to have everything going for it. The styling grabs attention instantly, the motorcycle has tremendous road presence, and it stands out from virtually everything else on the market. People love looking at it, discussing it, and seeing it at motorcycle events. The trouble begins when buyers start comparing it to the motorcycles it was designed to compete against. Harley-Davidson and Indian already dominate the heavyweight cruiser market, and both brands have decades of loyalty behind them. The R18 also faces another challenge. Many BMW customers aren't shopping for cruisers in the first place. They're looking at adventure bikes, touring models, and sport tourers, leaving the R18 in a strange position within BMW's own lineup. What's interesting is that most people don't dislike the motorcycle. In fact, many riders come away impressed after seeing or riding one. The problem is that admiration rarely turns into a purchase. The BMW R18 lands on this list because it generates plenty of attention but not nearly enough buyers, making it one of the clearest examples of a motorcycle people respect far more than they actually purchase. Number 11, Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator suffers from a problem that can be even worse than criticism: indifference. Most riders don't hate it, most reviewers don't dislike it. The challenge is that very few people seem excited enough about it to rush out and buy one. On paper, the motorcycle makes a lot of sense. It's approachable, practical, comfortable, and backed by Kawasaki's reputation for reliability. For many riders, especially beginners, it checks almost every box they could ask for. The problem is that today's motorcycle market is packed with alternatives that create a stronger emotional reaction. Buyers shopping in this price range often end up choosing a sport bike, naked bike, or adventure motorcycle because those segments simply generate more excitement. Meanwhile, traditional cruiser fans frequently skip the Eliminator and move toward larger bikes with more character and road presence. That's what leaves the Eliminator in such a difficult position. It doesn't do anything particularly wrong, but it also doesn't give buyers a compelling reason to choose it over everything else sitting on the showroom floor. Many riders look at the Eliminator and think, that's a nice motorcycle. The problem for Kawasaki is that very few look at it and think, I have to own that. The Kawasaki Eliminator finds itself among America's slowest-selling motorcycles, because being sensible and practical doesn't always translate into strong sales when buyers are shopping with their hearts as much as their wallets. Number 10, Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster was supposed to bring a new generation of riders into the Harley family. Instead, it has become one of the company's more difficult motorcycles to sell, often finding itself overshadowed by both its competitors and Harley's own lineup. The biggest issue is that the Nightster doesn't have a clear audience. Traditional Harley riders often prefer larger cruisers with the classic styling, sound, and feel that made the brand famous. Younger riders, meanwhile, frequently look at sport bikes, naked bikes, and middleweight performance motorcycles that offer more power or value for the money. That leaves the Nightster stuck in the middle. It's more modern than many Harleys, but not modern enough to pull large numbers of riders away from competing brands. It's lighter and more affordable than Harley's bigger cruisers, yet many buyers decide to spend a little more and move up the lineup. What's especially surprising is that most people who ride the Nightster actually like it. Reviews are generally positive, owners are often satisfied, and the motorcycle performs far better than many critics expected. Yet strong reviews haven't translated into strong sales. A lot of shoppers appreciate what Harley-Davidson was trying to accomplish. The problem is that appreciation and purchase decisions are two very different things. The Nightster lands on this list because it occupies one of the toughest positions in the motorcycle industry. Caught between Harley-Davidson's traditional customers and the new generation of riders it was built to attract. Number 9, Indian FTR. The Indian FTR might be one of the coolest motorcycles on sale in America right now, which makes its weak sales numbers even more surprising. Almost everyone who sees an FTR agrees that it looks unique, sounds fantastic, and offers something completely different from the average motorcycle. Unfortunately, being different is also part of the reason it struggles. The problem is that the FTR doesn't fit neatly into any major category. It's not really a cruiser, even though it comes from Indian. It's not a sport bike, it's not a naked bike, and it's not an adventure motorcycle. As a result, many buyers admire it but have trouble figuring out exactly where it belongs in their garage. Price doesn't help either. Once shoppers start comparing the FTR to other motorcycles in a similar range, they often find alternatives that are more practical, more comfortable, or better suited to the type of riding they actually do most often. What's frustrating for Indian is that the motorcycle itself receives plenty of praise. Riders love the styling, enjoy the performance, and appreciate the fact that it stands out from the crowd. Yet those strengths haven't been enough to generate the sales numbers the company was hoping for. The Indian FTR finds itself near the bottom of the sales charts because it appeals strongly to a small group of enthusiasts while failing to attract the larger audience needed to become a mainstream success. Number 8. Suzuki Boulevard M109R. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R has been around long enough to become a legend, but that's also part of the problem. While the motorcycle still commands respect, today's buyers are increasingly looking at it as a relic from another era rather than a must-have cruiser. There's no denying the road presence. The M109R looks enormous, aggressive, and intimidating in a way that few motorcycles can match. Even now, it turns heads wherever it goes. The trouble is that attracting attention and attracting buyers are two very different things. Many riders who walk into dealerships looking for a powerful cruiser eventually end up choosing something else. Some move toward Harley-Davidson or Indian because of the stronger brand image and customization scene. Others decide they want a touring motorcycle, an adventure bike, or a modern performance machine instead. The M109R often gets admired during the shopping process, but rarely becomes the final choice. Another challenge is that the motorcycle feels like it belongs to a different generation of motorcycling. What once seemed cutting-edge now feels old-fashioned compared to many newer models entering the market. Buyers spending serious money often want the latest technology, updated features, and a more modern ownership experience. The Boulevard M109R ends up on this list because it remains a motorcycle people remember, talk about, and respect, but not nearly enough people are buying them compared to the competition. Number 7. BMW K1600B. The BMW K1600B was designed to blend luxury touring with custom bagger styling, but that combination has never translated into the sales success BMW likely envisioned. While the motorcycle has developed a loyal following, it remains one of the more difficult premium motorcycles to sell in America. The biggest challenge is its price. Buyers spending this much money enter a very different market, one where expectations become incredibly high. At that level, customers aren't simply comparing motorcycles. They're comparing experiences, brands, dealer networks, resale values, and long-term ownership costs. That's where the K1600B starts facing serious competition. Many riders who want a luxury touring motorcycle end up choosing a Honda Gold Wing because of its legendary reputation. Others stay loyal to Harley-Davidson and purchase a Street Glide or Road Glide. What's frustrating is that the K1600B offers plenty to like. It delivers comfort, impressive technology, long-distance capability, and a riding experience that few motorcycles can match. Yet for many shoppers, those strengths aren't enough to overcome the reality of its price and niche appeal. The BMW K1600B lands among America's slowest-selling motorcycles because it asks buyers to spend premium money on a motorcycle that doesn't fit neatly into the categories most customers are already shopping for. Number 6. A Triumph Rocket 3. The Triumph Rocket 3 has a problem most motorcycles would love to have. Everyone knows about it. The problem is that awareness hasn't translated into sales. Despite being one of the most talked about motorcycles in America, the Rocket 3 continues to sell in surprisingly small numbers. At motorcycle shows, dealerships, and online videos, the Rocket 3 attracts attention almost instantly. Its enormous size and outrageous performance make it impossible to ignore. Riders love discussing it because there simply isn't anything else quite like it on the market. The challenge begins when people start thinking like buyers instead of enthusiasts. A motorcycle this large, this powerful, and this expensive appeals to a very limited audience. Most riders don't need this much performance, and many aren't interested in paying a premium for capabilities they'll rarely use. Competition doesn't help either. Buyers shopping in this price range often end up choosing luxury touring motorcycles, premium cruisers, or high-end adventure bikes that fit more easily into everyday life. Those motorcycles may not be as dramatic as the Rocket 3, but they're often viewed as the safer purchase. The Triumph Rocket 3 lands on this list because it succeeds as a conversation starter far more often than it succeeds as a purchase decision. Number 5. Indian Scout Bobber. The Indian Scout Bobber looks like a guaranteed success on paper. It has the brand name, the styling, the heritage angle, and a strong presence that usually works very well in the cruiser market. Yet despite all of that, it has struggled to dominate sales the way many people expected. Part of the issue is internal competition. Many riders walk into Indian dealerships interested in the Scout lineup, but they often end up choosing other versions of the Scout or moving up to larger models. The bobber styling attracts attention, but it also limits practicality for some buyers who want more comfort for longer rides. Another challenge comes from the broader market. In this price range, riders are spoiled for choice. Some choose Harley-Davidson for brand loyalty and customization culture. Others look at Japanese motorcycles for reliability and lower cost of ownership. The Scout Bobber sits in a crowded space where being good is not enough to stand out. The motorcycle itself is not the problem. It delivers strong performance, has a solid engine, and offers the kind of riding experience that most cruiser fans enjoy. But enjoyment alone does not always drive sales when buyers are comparing multiple strong options side by side. The Indian Scout Bobber lands on this list because it attracts attention easily, but struggles to convert that attention into consistent, high-volume sales. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Pan America. The Harley-Davidson Pan America was supposed to be Harley's big entry into the adventure bike world, a segment that has been growing fast in the United States. On paper, it had everything needed to succeed: modern tech, strong performance, and the Harley badge. In reality, it has struggled to match the sales of its rivals. The biggest issue is identity. Most Harley buyers are traditional cruiser fans who want low seats, relaxed riding positions, and classic styling. Adventure bike buyers, on the other hand, usually look at brands like BMW, Honda, and KTM, which already dominate this space with long-standing reputations. The Pan America ends up caught between two very different audiences. Performance-wise, the bike is genuinely strong. It delivers serious power, off-road capability, and modern features that compete well with established adventure motorcycles. But in this category, capability alone is not enough. Trust, history, and long-term reputation matter even more. Another factor is brand perception. Many riders still associate Harley-Davidson with cruisers, not adventure touring. That mindset shift takes time, and the Pan America is still paying the price for entering a segment where it is seen as an outsider. The Harley-Davidson Pan America lands on this list because it is a capable motorcycle that simply arrived in a market where buyers were already committed to other brands. Number 3. Triumph Trident 660. The Triumph Trident 660 should have been a breakout hit. It sits in one of the most popular motorcycle categories in the world, offers modern styling, strong performance for the price, and comes from a brand with a solid reputation. Yet despite all of that, its sales still fall behind some of its biggest rivals. The problem starts with competition. This segment is one of the most crowded in motorcycling. Riders looking for a middleweight naked bike have endless options from Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, and Suzuki, many of which are already deeply established and trusted in this space. The Trident 660 itself is not weak. Its 660cc triple engine delivers smooth, usable power and a very friendly riding character that works well for both new and experienced riders. It feels refined, balanced, and easy to live with in daily use. But in this category, being good is not enough. Buyers often look for either extreme value or extreme performance, and many competitors manage to lean harder in one direction or the other. The Trident sits in a more balanced position, which makes it easier to appreciate but harder to get excited about. Another factor is brand perception. While Triumph has a strong image, many riders in this segment still default to Japanese manufacturers when they want something reliable, affordable, and widely supported. The Triumph Trident 660 lands on this list because it is a solid all-rounder that gets respect from reviewers, but struggles to create the kind of strong emotional pull that drives high sales numbers in a crowded market. Number 2, Indian Challenger. The Indian Challenger was built to take direct aim at Harley-Davidson's touring dominance, and on paper it looks more than capable of doing that. It has big power, aggressive styling, and all the modern touring features buyers expect in this class. Yet despite that, it still struggles to match the sales strength of its biggest rival. The core issue is loyalty. In the American bagger and touring segment, most buyers don't just choose a motorcycle, they choose a brand identity. Harley-Davidson has spent decades building that identity, and for many riders, switching to something else is not an easy decision, no matter how good the alternative is. The Challenger itself delivers serious performance. Its liquid-cooled V-twin engine produces strong acceleration, and it feels more modern and more aggressive than many traditional air-cooled competitors. On the road, it is fast, stable, and packed with features that make long-distance riding comfortable. Even with all that capability, many buyers still hesitate. Part of it is perception. Indian has grown a lot in recent years, but Harley still dominates the mindshare in this segment. The Indian Challenger lands on this list because it is a strong motorcycle that still struggles to break through a market where tradition often matters more than performance. Number 1, Harley-Davidson Sportster S. The Harley-Davidson Sportster S was designed to bring Harley into a new era, with modern performance, aggressive styling, and a completely different feel compared to traditional Sportster models. On paper, it looks like the kind of upgrade that should attract a younger audience and boost sales. In reality, it has struggled more than expected in the American market. The main issue is identity confusion. Traditional Harley buyers often prefer the classic air-cooled feel and long-standing styling of older Sportsters or bigger cruisers. At the same time, younger riders looking for performance and value often compare the Sportster S against Japanese and European bikes that offer more versatility for the price. The Revolution Max 1250T engine gives the bike serious performance. It accelerates hard, feels fast in real-world riding, and is easily one of the strongest engines Harley has ever used in a Sportster. But raw performance alone is not enough to carry sales in a segment where buyers also care about comfort, range, and everyday practicality. The Sportster S lands at number 1 on this list because it sits in a difficult middle ground. Too modern for traditional Harley fans and too specialized for riders who want maximum versatility for their money, which has kept its sales lower than expected despite strong performance and bold design. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.